Live from ABC7, this is Eyewitness News at 8 p.m. on LA56.
A Downey police officer shot in San Bernardino. A SWAT team moves in. One suspect is dead, several others detained.
A local professor says she's the victim of retaliation and is taking legal action against Caltech.
He is one of the most wanted men in the world and denied a new message from the leader of ISIS. Good evening, I'm David Ono.
And I'm Colleen Sullivan. Welcome to Eyewitness News on LA56. A Downey police officer shot in San Bernardino. One suspect is dead, several others detained. About 15 homes or so evacuated. Eyewitness News reporter Jory Rand is live at the scene with more on what led up to this deadly shooting. Jory?
Colleen, it happened around 4:30 this afternoon. Downey officers working undercover here in San Bernardino. They had let San Bernardino police know earlier in the day that they would be working here, but they did not request support. They may have wanted to do so because as they worked and approached the house here, gunfire erupted. One officer was shot at least 3 times. A suspect was killed. Several others were taken into custody. Let's show you some of the footage from just a few hours ago here in San Bernardino. Heavy police activity. 15 homes at least have been evacuated. Those folks still remain outside of their home tonight as this investigation continues. Police are still waiting to get a search warrant to enter that home, and until that happens, folks cannot return to their home. We spoke with one witness who thinks she heard at least 10 to 20 shots fired, and here's what police had to say about the incident today.
At one point, decided to secure a residence, as we normally do. As they approached to secure the residence, they were immediately met with gunfire. Several rounds were exchanged. One officer was struck. He appears to be struck, I believe, in the buttocks, I believe in the arm and in the vest, but he is okay.
Basically sound like fireworks, like the little ones going off. It's not really a lot of stuff that happens on the street. It's so quiet. So it's really like shocking and breathtaking.
So one of the suspects was shot and killed here on scene. It's believed to be by the officer who was shot those 3 times. But until they get a search warrant to enter this house, this investigation continues, and at least 15 homes remain evacuated at this hour. We're live in San Bernardino. Jory Rand, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
All right, we have breaking news going on in Pico Rivera. That's where dozens of people were protesting wages and working conditions at Walmart. The protesters lit candles, held hands as they sat in the middle of the street at Washington and Paramount and blocked traffic. When they refused officers' orders to move, they were arrested one at a time. All were taken into custody without incident and are being processed by the LA County Sheriff's deputies. We've learned the protesters are not actually Walmart employees, but are activists with the Occupy movement. And Enyo Santos joined our circle of eyewitnesses to send us these photos and tipping us off with the story. If you see news happening or have a story to share, hashtag ABC7 Eyewitness on social media or upload to the ABC7 app.
And we are starting to see some wet weather around Southern California. Bill Thomas is on storm track. He is live in Woodland Hills with more. Bill?
Yeah, it's not much, but we'll take everything we can get right now in the middle of this treacherous drought. We have a little bit of light rain in the west end of the San Fernando Valley. We're right on top of the Ventura Freeway near Topanga Canyon in the West Valley. A little bit of light drizzle. A lot of the moisture you're seeing off the lens of the helicopter is actually virga, and it's actually dissipating before it hits the ground, so it doesn't appear to be impacting the 101 freeway just yet. Found some more light rain out west in the Calabasas area, West Hills, Hidden Hills, and a little bit of light drizzle in Chatsworth as well. The bulk of the rain right now is primarily in the west end of the San Fernando Valley. Reporting live from Air 7 HD, I'm Bill Thomas, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
All right, Bill, thank you for that update. In the meantime, is that rain going to be anything significant? Let's talk to Jonathan Novak right now.
Yeah, unfortunately, no, David. This is kind of what we were expecting for today. Also for tomorrow, live Megadoppler 7000 HD showing any echoes that we're seeing are really up to the north. We'll zoom in to where we were just looking from Air 7, and nothing showing up on the scope because, yes, as you heard Bill say, that's virga. It's basically evaporating before it reaches the ground. So the shower activity, if anything, will be in the shape of drizzle. Anything more significant than that is up to the north around Frazier Park. A few echoes showing up there just to the north of Frazier Park. Otherwise, for tomorrow, expect some of that drizzle in the morning time, potentially around 7 to 10 a.m. And it would be patchy in nature, mostly cloudy by 10, and then more sunshine in the afternoon. We're looking for 71 for a high tomorrow. How long does this cool, somewhat wet weather last? I'll tell you about that. The weekend forecast, of course, coming up in that 7 a.m. in a few minutes.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Wish we had more wet weather there. Well, a forum today in Sacramento led by Governor Jerry Brown and his counterpart in Nevada, Governor Brian Sandoval, as the two states look to deal with the current drought. Today's meeting focused on how to manage agriculture. It's the first in a year-long series that will culminate with the report next June. Part of California's plan is to try and save more water during wet years as part of a bond measure just passed by voters. But that may be a while. Weather experts updated their forecast today, predicting only a 53% chance of a weak to moderate El Nino system this winter.
New information today in the case of Ezell Ford, the unarmed man shot and killed by LAPD officers in August. Both the mayor and the chief of police called for witnesses to come forward, and they talked about the delay in releasing the autopsy. Eyewitness News reporter Melissa McBride has the story.
On the night of August 11th, 25-year-old Ezell Ford was shot and killed by two LAPD officers in South LA 3 months after his death, and the case is still ongoing. Law enforcement and city leaders are making a plea for witnesses to come forward.
We can't afford to have anybody who may have seen something remain quiet. It's not fair to the family. It's not fair to the community. It's not fair to our police department and our police officers.
The LAPD says the officers shot Ford when he tried to grab one of their guns. Some witnesses told reporters Ford was face down on the ground when he was shot. Investigators say people who claim to have seen what happened need to give their side of the story so the district attorney can decide if the officers should face criminal charges.
We need that information so that we can come to the right conclusion. The last thing that I, as chief of police and as somebody that has control over this investigation, want to do is move forward on partial information.
Community activists say they've also tried to encourage people to speak up on record.
People fear the police. People in that community fear coming forward because of all the history of negative interactions they've had with the LAPD.
Ford's family still does not have his autopsy results. There's a hold on the case because police don't want the information to influence potential witness statements. But Chief Beck says the results will be made public by the end of the year.
And if we can get some progress in moving this investigation forward through this press conference or through any other means, then we will certainly do it much sooner.
If you do have information on the case and do not feel comfortable talking to the LAPD, you can contact the district attorney's office and speak to one of their investigators. Here's the number they'd like you to call. It's area code 213-974-3608. Reporting in downtown LA, I'm Melissa McBride, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
The man accused of shooting to death a Pomona SWAT team officer appeared in court today. However, the formal arraignment for 36-year-old David Martinez was postponed until December 3rd. Martinez is accused of fatally shooting Pomona SWAT team officer Sean Diamond, who was helping serve a warrant at Martinez's house on October 29th. Diamond was shot in the back of the head. The 16-year law enforcement veteran died the next day in the hospital. Martinez is being held without bail.
A physics professor at Caltech is suing the school. She claims Caltech retaliated against her after telling the FBI about possible illegal activities at NASA's JPL. Eyewitness News reporter Robert Olguin talked to the professor about their lawsuit.
Dr. Sandra Troyan is a physics professor at Caltech who was conducting cutting-edge research at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. But that all changed when Troyan reported what she said were illegal activities at the lab, which is managed by Caltech.
The door just closed abruptly on me.
Troyan is suing Caltech, claiming the university violated its own whistleblower policy when it retaliated against her for cooperating with federal investigators.
I want my name cleared, and I want to regain the freedom to get back to my work that I love to do.
At a news conference in Pasadena, Troyan said she notified Caltech administrators in 2010 that one of her assistants shared classified research data with an acquaintance in Israel. She said administrators did not take any action. 2 years later, the FBI started looking into Troyan's claims as part of a larger investigation into export law violations. She says university administrators punished her for cooperating with the FBI.
I was basically called into a disciplinary meeting by the provost, and they rebuked me for even speaking to the FBI.
Troyan's attorney says Caltech administrators were worried that Troyan would jeopardize the university's contract with NASA to manage the lab.
So their motive was to protect their backsides. Their motive was to assure that they got this $8 billion contract.
But the university has a different take. In a written statement, a spokeswoman for Caltech says the lawsuit is meritless. She goes on to say Troyan was dissatisfied with the outcome of a recent internal campus investigation into her decision to list her cat as the author of a published abstract. And Troyan suffered no retaliation and remains an active faculty member of the Institute.
A spokeswoman for JPL says the lab is confident that no violations occurred. Reporting from Pasadena, Robert Olguin, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
A patient infected with Ebola is flying back to the United States. The man is a surgeon born in the West African country of Sierra Leone, but is a U.S. resident. ABC News has confirmed Dr. Martin Salia is most likely arriving in Nebraska on Saturday. Nebraska Medical Center in Omaha is one of 4 hospitals in the U.S. that is specifically prepared to handle Ebola patients. It's not clear how he contracted the deadly disease.
Attorneys for the family of Michael Brown are urging restraint by both protesters and police with a grand jury decision is announced on whether to charge the officer who killed the unarmed teenager. Officer Darren Wilson fatally shot Brown in August, leading to riots. Businesses are boarding up their windows in Ferguson, Missouri, and local gun sales have gone up. The grand jury ruling is expected any day.
The U.S. prepares to step up its fight against Islamic State militants in the Middle East. This while the leader of ISIS appears in a new video saying the U.S.-led coalition will eventually have no choice but to send in ground troops.
In this newly released recording, the leader of ISIS, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, is heard criticizing U.S. efforts to fight ISIS, claiming the United States and its allies will eventually have to send ground troops into battle. The recording released days after the Islamic State leader was reported to have been wounded in an airstrike.
These additional troops and facilities will help strengthen.
The recording comes the same day Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel told Congress the U.S. would consider sending 1,500 U.S. troops to fight alongside Iraqis to combat ISIS in Iraq and Syria.
Our strategy is counter ISIL, one being their funding, cutting off their funding, coalition partners, all the partners of the region involved strengthening the Iraqi security forces.
ISIS posting yet another video, this time showing how members hide from coalition bombs and enemy fighters. ISIS claims these underground tunnels are used as supply routes. President Obama now asking Congress to approve $5.6 billion to expand the U.S. mission to fight ISIS.
This campaign will be marked or characterized, I've described it this way, 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, and at every step forward or back, we'll debate about the size of the step.
Helping in the fight against ISIS, female members of the Iranian Kurdish militia, the women serving alongside Iraqi Kurdish forces.
And if the extra troops are approved, that will up the number of U.S. troops in Iraq to 3,100.
Still ahead, President Obama expected to take action to protect undocumented immigrants.
Plus, a newly released review of the infamous White House fence jumper details a series of errors.
And let ski season begin. We get a look at the celebrations in Mammoth. A scathing report finds several critical security failures, including poor training and a lack of communication by the Secret Service, allowed a man to jump the White House fence and run into the White House in September. Video allegedly shows Omar Gonzalez jumping the fence armed with a small knife. The Homeland Security report states several Secret Service officers on duty didn't see the man because a construction project blocked their view. Also, the emergency response team did not know the White House layout and hesitated to go inside after Gonzalez.
President Obama is expected to announce a series of executive actions that could affect the immigration status of nearly 5 million people living in the country illegally. The actions will likely extend deportation protections and parents and spouses of U.S. citizens and permanent residents. Attorney General Eric Holder says executive action is just the first step.
Comprehensive, legislatively crafted immigration legislation is something that I think is still the hope of this administration. But in the absence of congressional action, as the President has indicated, he is prepared to use in an appropriate way the executive power that he has.
Congressional Republicans strongly oppose President Obama's plans. House Speaker John Boehner says he will fight the president tooth and nail. Meantime, the U.S. government has revealed that nearly half of the Mexican border is patrolled by unmanned drones alone. They are used to monitor about 900 miles where there are no agents, cameras, ground sensors, or fences. So far, only 2% of the missions have offered any evidence of illegal crossings. The program is expected to expand to the Canadian border by the end of 2015.
They were cheering on Mammoth Mountain today. It's the beginning of the ski season. Because of its unique location in the Sierra Nevada, Mammoth has a tradition of opening earlier than other California resorts and staying open longer in the spring. The resort says it has a full slate of activities this weekend, with slopes groomed and ready for skiers and snowboarders.
What a welcome sight there. Hey, a little bit of welcome sight earlier in the newscast. We saw I know you said Virga rain, but you know what? Rain is rain.
We take some rain, and we even still have some snow up in the high Sierra. So good stuff. It's hopeful, all right? So we're hoping that this will continue, this trend through the fall and into the winter. Right now, not a lot to talk about, but we got something to show in that live Mega Doppler 7000 HD. As Colleen was mentioning, a few readings showing up in the northern portions of our area, even some Virga around Calabasas. And that wouldn't show up on the radar, but it is there. That's basically when the rain will evaporate before it hits the ground. And if anything really is reaching the ground in that area, it would be really light drizzle. Anything more significant up around Fraser Park. And then rain and snow up in the Sierra up toward Tahoe. We're seeing some rain and snow right now. In fact, you see Mammoth, the last few hours, some of that precipitation has dwindled this evening. But still, good stuff. We love it. We need it, of course, and right now, we're looking for about a day more of this cooler, somewhat damp type of weather before things dry up for the weekend, actually. It's looking like a really nice weekend ahead. 70 was our high today, I should say, in downtown. 74 is our normal. That's where we were yesterday. Very similar day. It was kind of a copycat day from yesterday. Tomorrow will be about the same, even a little nicer, in fact. 63 right now in downtown. Temperatures generally, once again, tonight, not a big spread, lower 60s, even some mid-60s around Fullerton and Long Beach, 62 Ontario, and in Oxnard, 60 in Ojai. Nothing too cool, nothing too cold. All that really cold air, as you've been hearing, is off to the rest of the country to the east. There's a big front that's off in the eastern portion of the country. See that rain associated with it, and a lot of snow through the Midwest into the Northeast. Look at all of that precipitation happening here through that portion of the country. 6 degrees in Colorado. You head up to Kansas, same there. Dakota's 0 right now. It is just a frigid period of time. In fact, they're looking for a stretch of this, at least a week, of very cold air. For us, it's that onshore flow persisting for one more day, maybe a day and a half, and then things change for us. In fact, we're looking for high pressure to build in for the weekend. Watch the wind arrows here in the future rainfall. I'm going to tell you now, the rain's going to stay to the north, maybe some morning drizzle, but not enough to really get picked up by any model runs or even the radar. It's just going to be very light stuff for tomorrow morning. Then watch the wind directions change late Friday and into Saturday from an onshore to an offshore flow late Saturday. And that's going to mean a warming trend Saturday into Sunday. So Friday will be cool, temperatures like this, like you saw today. Cloudy in the morning, some sunshine in the afternoon. In fact, I think you'll see a little bit more sun than you saw today. 71 in Los Angeles, 71 Anaheim, 69 Ontario. And then Saturday, much more sun. Temperatures starting a little bit of a warm-up. And then Sunday is fantastic. Here you go in that 7-day for LA Metro and Orange County. 75 on Sunday, 78 on Monday. Now, the next change after that will be Tuesday into Wednesday. Another system kind of been going back and forth with the rain chances. We're going to keep a slight chance on late Tuesday into Wednesday right now. The valleys, i.e., weekend's looking good. Get through some morning clouds and drizzle. Temperatures in the lower 70s tomorrow. The weekend in the upper 70s. The mountains in the 50s for the whole stretch of the 7-day. And the high desert, a couple days in the 60s, upper 60s with breezy conditions. Sunday is looking fantastic. More weather coming up in a few minutes. Back to you guys at the desk.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. And we want to remind you about a very important programming note.
Well, starting on Monday, that's this coming Monday, you can get your news on KDOC 1 hour earlier. ABC7 Eyewitness News on LA56 is moving to 7 p.m. starting Monday, November 17th. Again, that's this coming Monday. We will be on for 1 hour from 7 to 8 o'clock.
And we hope you join us. And still ahead, new chilling 911 tapes from last month's deadly high school shooting in Washington.
Plus, a clerk at a flip-flop shop unexpectedly punched by a customer. It's all caught on camera.
A lawsuit against the developer who built this building for the city, alleging it underpaid its workers hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm Carlos Grande in South Los Angeles. I'll have that story coming up.
Police in San Luis Obispo make an arrest today after a woman was assaulted inside a store. The confrontation was all caught on surveillance video. Watch as the man at the bottom of the screen pretends to leave, but then he suddenly turns around, heads straight towards the clerk, and then punches her in the face. He was found about 45 minutes later and has been identified as 20-year-old Justin Pard. And during a search, police say they found a 10-inch fixed-blade knife in his sweatshirt. He's being held on $2,000 bail.
That is awful. Well, 911 tapes have been released from last month's deadly rampage at a Washington State high school. They reveal in more detail the brave actions of one teacher who stopped more people from being killed. ABC's Neil Karlinski describes the chaos.
911, we have a shooting at Marysville Pilchuck High School cafeteria. We have many injured.
Amidst the chaos of that shooting at Marysville Pilchuck High School, 911 tapes reveal a teacher.
My name is Megan Silverberger. I'm a teacher.
Taking the phone from a frantic student and methodically walking police through the horror.
Okay, I am in the cafeteria. I have the shooter. One shooter. Blood is everywhere. I do not see the gun. I need help. I need
911 operators are quickly flooded with calls, students still inside.
There's somebody shooting at our school.
But it was Silberberger, a first-year social studies teacher who ran towards the gunfire, coming face-to-face with homecoming prince-turned-mass shooter Jalen Freiberg that terrible morning.
I tried to stop him before he shot himself.
Okay, you said he had shot himself?
He shot himself. Many are down. I do not know how many are down.
4 of the 5 victims have died since the shooting. Only one, Nate Hatch, survived.
Tonight, school here is back in session, still trying to find a way back to normal, including Megan Silberberger, who has not missed a single day of class.
And again, that was ABC's Neil Karlinski reporting.
We are updating the evening's top stories next at 8:30.
Plus, the suspect in the killing of a 21-year-old Army vet pleads not guilty. We speak to the suspect's family.
And the city of Los Angeles sues the contractor of a multi-million-dollar city project, claiming they failed to properly pay workers.
Live from ABC7, this is Eyewitness News at 8:30 p.m. on LA56.
Our top story at 8:30, a Downey police officer shot while working undercover. I'm Colleen Sullivan.
And I'm David Ona. This is Eyewitness News at 8:30 on LA56. The shooting happened about 4:30 this afternoon in San Bernardino. Downey police officers were working undercover when they approached a house in the 1500 block of Rialto Avenue. They were met with gunfire. One officer was shot 3 times, but his injuries aren't life-threatening. It's believed that officer returned fire, killing the suspect. At least 15 homes remain evacuated while authorities wait for a search warrant.
LA Mayor Eric Garcetti and LA Police Chief Charlie Beck are asking for any witnesses to the fatal police shooting of Ezell Ford to come forward. Ford was shot in an encounter with LAPD officers in South LA on August 11th. He was unarmed. Mayor Garcetti says he'll order Ford's autopsy to be released to the public by the end of the year.
The man charged with killing Army veteran Francisco Garcia on Sunday entered a not guilty plea today at the San Fernando courthouse. Eyewitness News reporter Leo Stallworth spoke to the suspect's family.
18-year-old Vincent Estrada entered a plea of not guilty to a charge of murder in the shooting death of 21-year-old Army veteran Francisco Garcia. Estrada is accused of shooting Garcia following a heated argument during a party in Sylmar around 2 a.m. Sunday.
My son is innocent of all charges.
My son was innocent. My son was innocent.
Detectives say Estrada got out of one of two vehicles Sunday morning and yelled at Garcia, who was standing on the sidewalk. They say Estrada then walked over to the second vehicle and grabbed a gun and shot Garcia. When police initially arrested Estrada, they considered him a person of interest and soon after determined he was their prime murder suspect and arrested him.
Our intention is to show that he is innocent and we will clear his name. It's going to take time, but we will clear his name.
And my brother is a very good kid. Same thing, he's innocent and the truth is going to come out sooner or later.
Garcia's family was not in court during the arraignment this afternoon, therefore we were not able to speak to them. But we did hear from them in prior interviews.
I'm glad that they got somebody, but it's just, there's nothing we can do to bring him back. He was a great person with a big heart, and I don't know how we're going to make it out of this. The best brother in the world. Sweetest, big heart, never hurt anybody.
Leo Stallworth, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
A death investigation is underway in Oxnard, where a body was found in a park right next to Sierra Linda Elementary School. Oxnard police say the body was found just before 9 this morning, along with an extensive blood trail. It appears the victim, described only as a man in his 50s, did have traumatic injuries, but no word on what caused them. The discovery prompted a voluntary lockdown of Sierra Linda Elementary, but children were never in danger. Anyone with information that could help police should call 805-385-7600. The man accused of molesting 2 boys at a local mall pleaded not guilty today. 31-year-old Quan Chow is being held on more than $1 million bail. Police say a boy told his mother Chow fondled him in the bathroom at the Dave & Buster's restaurant at the Westfield Mall in Arcadia. Another boy apparently also identified Chow in a similar case at the same restaurant. Chow is due back in court on December 2nd.
The city of Los Angeles is suing the contractor and subcontractors of a multi-million-dollar city project, claiming they failed to properly pay workers. It all stems from the construction of the South Los Angeles Animal Shelter on 60th Street in Western. Eyewitness News reporter Carlos Granda has more on the allegations.
The South Los Angeles Animal Shelter cares for stray dogs and cats, but officials say the developers who built the facility didn't take care of its workers, alleging they were underpaid by hundreds of thousands of dollars.
It's reprehensible to engage in wage theft.
City Attorney Mike Fewer filed this lawsuit against one city contractor and several subcontractors, alleging they underpaid their workers and often not paid overtime.
Nearly 50 and perhaps more workers were underpaid at least $250,000, and we allege that their employers failed to keep proper records.
The developer on the project was McCone Development. Here on their website, there are photos of the construction. The lawsuit says one or more employees worked numerous Saturdays, but they were never recorded on the official payrolls it submitted. According to this lawsuit, one of the subcontractors should have paid wages close to $49 an hour, including benefits, but actually paid as low as $8 an hour. And the lawsuit says that McCone told the employees to remain silent. We went to the company headquarters today. We called them and sent emails, but no one responded with a comment. We did speak over the phone with the owner of one subcontractor, King Wire. It installed the animal cages in the shelter. He told me he did nothing wrong and referred me to his attorney, who has not returned our calls. Fewer says the construction of the building was awarded to the lowest bidder, and not paying employees proper wages gives that builder an advantage.
When that lowest bidder's bid contemplates, as we allege could have been the case here, that not every person is going to be paid what they're entitled to, they can underbid others.
Fewer is also asking for a permanent injunction so these companies can never work again on any projects for the city of Los Angeles. In downtown Los Angeles, I'm Carlos Granda, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
A deer hurt after being impaled on a fence, but it's what happened when animal control officers were brought that has prompted an investigation. Orange County Bureau Chief Eileen Frere has both sides of the story.
He was hanging upside down, frantic.
Kathleen Johnson recalls the night she found a deer, its leg impaled on this fence in Anaheim Hills.
It was very distressed.
Johnson, a veterinarian, called Orange County Animal Care. Sergeant Juan Orozco and Officer David Serrato responded. According to documents, the officers covered the deer's head with a towel and hog-tied its front legs to its neck to keep it from moving, but the animal was too heavy to lift.
The second officer that was there pulled out a knife and was talking to the first one about where to cut the leg off to get it down from the fence. I said, well, I'm a veterinarian. I have a euthanasia solution. Do it very painlessly for you. And he said no.
Johnson says the officers asked her to leave. According to a report by Sergeant Orozco, he then slit the deer's throat, then cut its leg to free it from the fence. In an email to his supervisor, he said, I felt I made the right decision, and even if she really is a vet, I did not feel safe at all to have her stick the needle in with the deer still being very strong and being able to use his head. In a report, the veterinarians who performed the necropsy called what the officers did a barbaric and improper method of euthanasia, saying several other options were available. Orange County Animal Care says, however, euthanasia in the field is permitted only in specified circumstances when it's safe for both the officer and the public.
Our protocols do allow, and they are equipped with shotguns, to be able to immediately put an animal out of its misery.
In a report, Orozco says shooting the deer was not possible so close to homes. Orange County Animal Care can't talk about the specific case, but says Orozco and Serrato are being thoroughly investigated.
2 days after the incident here, both the officer and the sergeant were placed on paid administrative leave.
Criminal charges, however, will not be filed.
Whether you agreed with what they did or not, it's not a crime.
In Anaheim Hills, Eileen Frere, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Arson investigators in Long Beach are looking into a pair of suspicious overnight house fires. The first fire broke out near East Hill Street and Temple Avenue. Firefighters arrived to find heavy smoke and flames coming out of a home there. The flames quickly spread to a second house. Crews doused the fire. No one was hurt. Both homes were built more than a decade ago but have never been occupied. That's because of an ongoing dispute between the city of Long Beach and the builder. Both homes are now red tagged because of extensive fire damage.
A new study by the College Board shows students are paying triple what they did 30 years ago. The national average for in-state tuition plus fees increased this year to $9,139. That's a nearly 3% increase over the last school year. Also, enrollment has dropped because many people are opting to get jobs with the economy improving.
There's a lot of people that I know that have taken leave because the fees were too high. They can't remain either living in Long Beach. They have to commute for 2 hours.
Prop 30, backed by Governor Brown, aimed to cap tuition hikes, but the UC system says it's not getting enough funding from the state to cover its costs. It will vote on a proposed raise in tuition this month.
We still have much more coming up here at 8:30.
Up next, the story behind the solemn moment between a local father and his son.
Hundreds of smiling faces here at Universal Studios, all homeless LAUSD students receiving backpacks, clothing, shoes, even a free day at the park. How does that sound? I'm Giovanna Lotta. Coming up, the folks making this happen for these deserving kids.
All right, we got some rain on that line. Make it Alpha 7000 HD. I'll tell you what the rain chances are like for tomorrow, plus your weekend forecast is ahead in your 7 days. Stick around.
Here's a story that is touching a lot of people, in fact, millions of them on social media. A local father's message to his dying newborn. That's Chris Pico singing the Beatles song Blackbird to his baby son Lennon at Loma Linda University Hospital. Lennon was delivered by emergency C-section several weeks premature after his mother passed away. 4 days later, Lennon died. But before he did, his dad would sit at his side and sing to him. Pico said he decided to do so because his wife would tell him how, when she was pregnant, Lennon moved around inside of her when they listened to music. The memorial for both Ashley and Lennon will be held this weekend.
Well, Universal Studios hosted its 10th annual Day of Giving community outreach program today.
Universal is partnering with the LA Unified School District and its Operation School Bell program. Eyewitness News reporter Giovanna Lara was on hand for today's Day at the Park.
There's nothing like a new pair of shoes to put a pep in your step.
We got kids just screaming, look at my shoes, I can't wait to show my brother.
Today, some 250 students from nearly 24 LAUSD schools got not only new sneakers, but new uniforms, backpacks, books, and more.
I have a book of Percy Jackson and the lightning thief, and a jacket, a t-shirt, and a sweater for my dad. My favorite thing that I got today is a new sweater.
And that's not all. This special group of kids was also treated to a free day at Universal Studios. The fun-filled day-long experience is part of Universal's Day of Giving community outreach program, which sponsored a visit from this Operation School Bell truck loaded with the basics every child needs to succeed in school. But these kids especially, all of them are homeless, part of LAUSD's program to help homeless students stay in school.
We have students that sometimes we find out that they're living in the parks, they're living in their own cars, they're double housed with other families. Sadly, some of the kids don't come to school because they don't have the proper supplies. It helps to boost their self-confidence, and it makes them feel like one of the other kids, and they get to go back and brag that they were at Universal Studios for the day.
It's awesome keep being here.
The kids clearly grateful for their gifts and the people who made it all possible.
God bless them, and thank you.
Giovanna Lara, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
We've seen some rain tonight. What will tomorrow bring? We'll check in with Jonathan Novak next.
Plus, the Dodgers and Angels both can boast that they have the league's MVP. The details coming up in sports. We've got a progress report on a baby sea otter orphan who has been melting hearts since her story was first told, and she is so cute. Look at her. In her new home in Chicago, she has mastered the art of floating, an essential skill for any sea otter. Look at how tiny she is. And as we told you last week, she was rescued off the California coast in late September, barely a week old and weighing just 2 pounds. She was transferred to Chicago's Shed Aquarium, where we're told she's doing very well, putting on weight, practicing swimming, learning to groom herself, and you can see right there, working on her ball handling skills.
You know, pandas get so much attention, but sea otters clearly are where it's at.
They are. She is so cute. I just can't. I could just
those
keep
pictures of her.
Yeah, that you
so
posted on. I
yeah.
thought when you did a tweet of it, and I thought, oh, she is
so
darling.
Cute. So cute.
I can't even float. That's impressive.
Oh, that's the picture. That is the picture.
Yeah. Well, none of us can float right now because there's no water anywhere. We need some rain desperately.
Stay in those pictures.
Oh no, you're cute too, Jonathan. You're adorable.
Thank you. I'll take it. You're right. We would love some rain. We have a little, and I mean a little, tonight that's been reported, but really the most I found. Generally, we're in the northern areas. Ventura, you had about 2 100ths today in the last 12 hours, and I actually saw a reading 4 100ths around Simi Valley. That's nothing. We know that. And that was from some of that light drizzle that's sort of through the day with the low clouds formed. And tonight around Calabasas, we had some reports of that as well. But really, any significant, anything measurable, it's up to the north of us. Let's zoom in just a little bit here in that live Megalopolis 7000 HD. See Fraser Park trying to get going. A few echoes showing up as that moisture sort of rides up the slopes there, the north-facing slopes. Otherwise, we are dry, and all the rain and the snow, by the way, up in the high Sierra, Mammoth, Tahoe, seeing some snow that is accumulating, which is great for that. It's really great for everybody when the northern portions of the state see the precipitation. It's actually beneficial for all of us, but of course, we need some here in Southern California. Highs today, only generally in the upper 60s. Long Beach 68, Ojai, and Anaheim made it to about 70, 71 respectively, and that was really the warmest overall for the most part. Of course, Palm Springs in the mid to upper 70s in that portion of Southern California. Burbank right now is at 62. We have the clouds rolling back in tonight. Temperatures are going to fall pretty much where we saw this morning. A lot of mid to upper 50s around the area. Right now we're in the lower to mid 60s. 63 LA and Santa Monica, 62 in Oxnard. What's the pattern? We've had a very persistent onshore flow, bringing a lot of moisture. And actually, in fact, a little footnote, an important footnote for tomorrow, because of that long period that we've had this west-northwest swell, we're going to see seas about 9 to 11 feet for surfers tomorrow, a big risk of rip currents for tomorrow. Into the weekend, we'll see the pattern change, but for now, for the next 24 hours, we still have that onshore flow, and that's going to keep the moisture in place as a weak front washed out over us today. We had the rain up to the north. Not a lot of rain really in the forecast at all in the short term for us, except maybe some morning drizzle for the area as we see that low cloud cover in place. Now, this is where things change Saturday and late afternoon. Look at this. This is an arc. That's a high-pressure ridge. That builds in Saturday and into Sunday. That means warmer weather, and that means more sunshine before the next system arrives heading into next week. Okay, but weekend's looking good. So a little chilly tonight, some patchy morning drizzle. Temperatures generally in the 50s. Mountains looking at 31. 7-day forecast for LA Metro and Orange County, powered up by AccuWeather. Cloudy in the morning, partly cloudy in the afternoon, and then warmer on Sunday. We're at 75, 78 on Monday. How about it? Then the next system rolls in for Tuesday, Wednesday, a slight chance of rain then. Valleys, IE, lower 70s for 2 days, a little drizzle tomorrow morning. Weekend's looking good, 78 on Sunday and Monday, and then a slight chance of rain on Wednesday. Quick look at the mountains, you guys. You're going to be cold, a little breezy tomorrow. Not bad, though. No rain for you except for next Wednesday. And the high desert, breezy for one more day. The weekend, 2 thumbs up for you guys. Dallas is going to have more on this forecast on ABC7 at 11.
Thank you, Jonathan.
You're welcome.
Dodgers and the Angels both made early exits to the playoffs, but 2 of their players were honored today for the play during the regular season. Clayton Kershaw is the National League's MVP, and Mike Trout is the American League MVP. The last time both MVP winners came from the same area was 2002, when Barry Bonds of the Giants and Miguel Tejeda of the A's did it. Kershaw becomes the 3rd Dodger pitcher to win both the National League Cy Young Award and the MVP in the same season. Don Newcomb did it in 1956 and Sandy Koufax in 1963. The 26-year-old lefty got 18 to 31st place votes by the Baseball Writers of America. Mike Trout is the American League MVP for the first time after finishing runner-up to Miguel Cabrera the last 2 seasons. He was a unanimous choice this time. The 23-year-old center fielder hit 36 homers, drove in 111 runs this season as he led the Angels to the best regular season record in the majors.
Yeah, first I got to thank my teammates. You know, they get on base, they give me opportunities to, you know, drive in some runs, and, you know, without them guys, wouldn't be here without them. The fans obviously. Very special, and I'm just very excited.
You know, when you see that most valuable in front of something, to have people think that you really mean that much to your team, and it really is a huge honor for me. And you know, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I thank everybody for voting for me. It's one of the coolest things ever.
After 2 days off, the Clippers resumed workouts today. Yesterday, Blake Griffin was charged with misdemeanor battery in connection with an incident at a Las Vegas nightclub last month. Griffin was asked about it before practice today.
I'm not really allowed to speak on that, but I'm very confident in the situation, so once I can, I will. But I feel more bad just for the fact that it's a distraction. And I don't know how big of a distraction it really is, but it is. We would have liked it to go away. You know what I mean? But listen, it's just part of the legal process. I love Blake, support Blake, and this will work out.
Ahead, more news ahead here at 8:30 and ahead tonight on Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7. After Eyewitness News exposed a convicted killer's plan to cash in on her crime, there's a new major development in the case. And it's an art exhibit of movie posters for sequels that haven't been made. News stories and all the late-breaking news on Southern California's #1 late newscast, Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7. The ads are running on TV, the songs are playing on the radio. Yes, Christmas time is already here.
Well, it seems to start earlier and earlier each year. I really believe it happened this year. Our Rob Hayes went out to see if people are actually ready to get into the holiday spirit.
Halloween may still be fresh in your mind, but if you think this is scary, brace yourself for early onset of holiday fever. All around L.A., Christmas is sprouting earlier and earlier, it seems. Looking for a tree?
Noble firs, the Douglas firs, Grand fir.
Steve Benvenista at Toluca Lake Christmas Trees has wasted no time getting his Christmas on. After 30 years here, he dives into the holiday pool as early as possible.
People are kind of used to me already because I do this a lot. They almost expect it. Yeah, if I didn't do it, they would think I was weird.
And while it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, it's also beginning to sound a lot like Christmas.
You can't help but feel good when you hear Band-Aid, Do They Know It's Christmas?
Coast 103.5 already shifted into around-the-clock holiday music.
Phones ring off the hook the entire time. Everybody wants to talk about how the Christmas music makes them feel. They want to hear their holiday favorites.
Even the folks at downtown LA's Pershing Square have shifted into early holiday mode. The skating rink now up and running a month and a half before Christmas. And shopping centers aren't going to be late to the ball. The Grove living up to its name. Its Christmas tree already in place. And over at the Glendale Galleria, a massive Santa house, complete with holiday Shrek characters, has been up and snowing for about a week already.
I love Christmas. We love Christmas. It makes us happy. I don't find it's early at all.
That feeling, a popular one among people surrounded by all the Yule tidiness. An early jump on the holidays does have its advantages, maybe even putting some folks into early giving mode.
I see it as a positive thing because it contributes to donations, charities, and other stuff like that.
But there are some concerns about America's favorite Turkey Day.
It kind of like takes everything away from Thanksgiving, you know?
But not the day after Thanksgiving. No, that is one holiday custom made for an early start. In Burbank, Rob Hayes, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
And you can help make sure every kid in Southern California gets a new toy this holiday season.
Our Spark of Love toy drive is already underway, and our resident elf, Garth Kemp, is getting ready for our first Stuff a Bus event of the year. It is next Friday, November 21st at Los Cerritos Center in Cerritos. Garth will be there from 4:30 a.m. through 6:30 p.m., so bring a new unwrapped toy or sports equipment to help fill those buses.
And if you can't make it, you can still donate online and let us do the shopping. Go to abc7.com/sparkoflove for more information.
And thank you so much for joining us for Eyewitness News at 8:30 on LA56.
Eyewitness News continues at 11 p.m. on ABC7 and anytime on abc7.com. And remember, go ahead.
Yeah, remember you can get your news 24 hours a day by following us on Facebook and Twitter and downloading our free ABC7 app.
We're moving to 7 o'clock on Monday. Have a great night.